Hey guys, me and the chef need a little bit of roasted garlic for a couple of our recipes that we're doing. So I just wanted to show you how I roast my garlic. I took that garlic bulb that we bought at the store the other day and I cut the top off of it. If you can see right here, if you can see, I cut the top off of it and I broke it down into a few of these cloves right here. So I've got them on a piece of foil. And what I'm going to do is, the paper casing is still on the garlic. I only have the end open, if you can see that. I know the lighting's kind of bad, but the actual paper is still on them. So I'm just going to put them in the center of my aluminum foil here. Chef's warming up the air fryer for me at 380 degrees. I'm just going to take a little bit of olive oil and drizzle it right over my cloves of garlic. I'm going to take a tad bit of salt. And we're going to take a tad bit of pepper. And this will come out like butter. And we're just going to take our foil. And we're just going to make us a little package. Just like that. Got us a little package with our garlic down in here. We're going to put this in the air fryer on 380 degrees for about 16 minutes. Once the 16 minutes is up and you take this out, please be careful when you open it because it will have a lot of steam in it and I don't want to see anybody get burnt. But we'll show you what we do with it after it's roasted. Happy Valentine's Day, guys. Welcome to our kitchen. I'm the Penguin.
I'm the chef.
And today we're coming to you with the first part of our Valentine series. Take it, chef.
Today we're According to the little chef over here, we're scene one. We're making the appetizer, bruschetta. So what we're doing is we're going to lay out a whole meal plan for you if you want to use it. We're giving you a few options as we go of what we're having for our Valentine's Day. Number one, of course, we're having bruschetta with little heart-shaped toasted garlic cheese bread. For our main courses, we're having either a heart-shaped sirloin steak or a heart-shaped chop steak. And fettuccine linguine carbonara. That's right.
Linguine carbonara.
And we're going to make some, either you can make a baked potato to go with that, which everybody knows how to make baked potato, and I have one in an earlier video, or I'm going to make some seasoned potato wedges that I cook off in the oven that are really good. And then for dessert.
Yes, for dessert, we're going to do a couple of different things. I've had requests to do dessert egg rolls. So we're going to do a couple of different types of those. Some with fruit and cream cheese and some with luscious chocolate candy. Because who doesn't want chocolate candy on Valentine's Day? And we're also going to do one of our favorites and something that I think is very romantic. Very easy but intimidating to a lot of people. But you'll find out it's not. And that is a molten lava cake. So cute, so sexy molten lava cake.
Sounds good.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to get started here. I have things laid out for my bread already and things laid out for my bruschetta.
And I just wanted to mention real quick, I had showed you guys about the garlic, roasting the garlic. And this is the garlic when it comes out.
Smells so good.
It really very fragrant. And inside those little sleeves makes the most buttery garlic. So this is part of what's going to go on a couple of our different menu items.
The one thing I do want to mention is, remember, we're using garlic and onion today, and it's Valentine's Day, so I would definitely have some mince on the hand.
Tic Tacs.
Before you go and kiss your loved one.
But just think of it this way. You're putting garlic in it, you're putting onions in it, so you're showing your loved one you want to keep them healthy. Two of the world's greatest antioxidants right there, garlic and onion.
Yes, it is. All right, well, let's get everything changed around, and we'll be right back and making that bruschetta. Okay, guys, this is what you need to make this bruschetta. Of course, you got to have a container to put it in. Mine's sitting over here. I got balsamic vinegar. I got garlic powder. I got onion powder. I got shredded mozzarella cheese. I've got McCormick's Perfect Italian, or Pinch Perfect Italian. Perfect Pinch, sorry. I don't have any basil, and it really, if you had fresh basil, that's the best thing. Dried basil will work. But this is really strong in basil, so I'm just going to use just a little pinch of it in there. Not very much, or it'll be too overpowering. Olive oil, black pepper. I've got a sweet onion. I've got a lemon. I've got tomato, and I got a couple big pieces of that roasted garlic she was just showing you. So we'll get started, and I'll start putting things in the bowl. Okay, I got my onion peeled, and I got about a quarter of this sweet onion. I'm going to really finely dice this, and then I'll get that in the bowl, and we'll move on to our next ingredient. Okay, there's my onion all finely diced in the bowl. Now, if you don't have sweet onion and you're using a stronger onion, you want to use less. Probably about half that amount, unless you don't want this to be too strong where you can't enjoy the flavor of it. Okay, next we're going to do our tomato. Okay, I'm using a small beefsteak tomato that we bought. I prefer to use the little cherry tomatoes, the like heirloom ones that have a lot of flavor. I usually like getting those and then quartering them up in little pieces. But this is what we had, so it does okay. So I'm going to finely dice this too, and I'm going to get it in the bowl with my onion. And there's my crushed up tomato over the top of my onions. And now we're going to move on to that garlic. And on that garlic, we're just going to take the knife, press it out that skin like that. Get all the good stuff out. Really going to just finely cut that up just a little bit. It's really soft and buttery, so it doesn't take a whole lot.
Yeah, you can even take, if you've got a knife that doesn't have holes in it, you can just smash the whole garlic. It just smashes like butter. And then add it to your mixture.
Get this done and we'll be back. Okay, I got my garlic in. That's one of them things that everybody wants to adjust to their own. So when you get this made and you get it all stirred up and you let it sit for a little while, go back and taste test it. If you think it needs more garlic, you can always add more, but you can't take away once it's in there. Okay, next we're going to get on to our lemon. Okay, and I'm going to zest just a little bit of this lemon before I cut it. I just want a very little bit. I mean, like an 1/8 of a teaspoon or less of this in there. Just enough to add a little flavor. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, you can see I just got just a little bit of lemon zest in there. I'm going to slice me a nice big piece off that lemon and squeeze the juice into it, and I'll explain to you why here in a moment. Okay, I got me a nice big wedge of lemon. I'm going to squeeze that juice down in there. Probably, it's probably more than a tablespoon, or less than a tablespoon, but more than a teaspoon's worth. I do it for two reasons. Number one, I think it adds a little flavor. It makes this bruschetta break down and marry better together. Number two, this is a good natural preservative that I put in lots of stuff when we make things. It just keeps things better longer. And I like letting my bruschetta set out at room temperature for a while before I refrigerate it. That way everything breaks down better together. Okay, I squeezed my lemon juice in there. Now I'm going to sprinkle in just a little bit of mozzarella cheese. Now this is a little bit big. It's like a rustic cut cheese. I would prefer to have the fine cut, but of course, like everybody else, it's not what I have in the house right now. So there's the mozzarella cheese. I have balsamic vinegar. This is one of the things you want to be careful about. You want to not go too heavy on the balsamic vinegar. It's very strong. 1 good teaspoon. Should make enough for this amount. Then I'm going to go back and I'm just going to eyeball it. I got garlic powder. Probably about a 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon. Like I said, it's one of the things you got to taste it after it sets for a while, and you can readjust your flavors. My other favorite, onion powder. Same amount as the garlic powder. Just a little sprinkle of this since I have basil. If you got basil, you want to put more fresh basil or other basil. But I'm just putting just a little bit of that in there because this is pretty strong. I have my black pepper. Sorry, about 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon. Again, depends on how peppery you like things. And then our last ingredient, olive oil. I don't recommend using any other oil than maybe olive oil, or a very light canola oil or sunflower oil would work, but olive oil, of course, is the best. So we're going to go 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons. I'm just going to take my spoon and I'm just going to stir all this up.
Smells really good.
Yeah, after it sets a little while, it'll taste really good too. Like I said, nothing's set in stone. You make it to this recipe, and it doesn't have enough vinegar, it doesn't have enough garlic, you can go back and add more, but you can't take away. The only way you'd be able to reduce is if you have more tomatoes to add to it to cut down on the flavor amount. Now it looks a little dry now, I know, but once that sets for a while, it'll become more liquid and more liquid because the tomatoes and the onions will be breaking down. That lemon juice will help break those down and add flavor. So I'm going to put the lid on this. I'm going to leave it set out for a couple hours, and I'm going to taste test it. And at that point, I'm going to put it in the refrigerator, and we already have that made ahead for our appetizer. We'll be right back with the bread. Okay, and onto our bread. To make this a little more festive, you're supposed to use Italian bread, like a baguette, and cut it in. They call it a crostini. Well, we're trying to get carb smart on stuff, so I'm using carb smart bread. You can use any kind of bread you want. I'm just going to make like a fried garlic toast out of it. I'm going to take my little small heart-shaped cookie cutter, and I already pressed one out to show you what it looks like. Got a nice little heart. Now it's best if you can let your bread, whatever kind you're going to use, lay out and dry just a little bit before you toast it. Now, after mine's buttered and ready to go in, I'm going to toast it in our air fryer. If you don't have an air fryer, you can put it on a sheet pan in the oven. You can put a little butter in the bottom of a skillet and just make like fried garlic toast out of it. Works just the same. So, I'm going to take my stick of butter. I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to add about a heaping teaspoon of garlic powder, a heaping teaspoon of onion powder, a little bit of parsley fleck, and I'm going to use some of that good roasted garlic in this too. I'm going to mince it real fine and get it in there. And then when that's done, I'm going to cut my bread out, and I'm going to go and butter both sides of it. And then we'll cook it. And we'll get started here in just a second. I've got my stick of butter cut in 2 pieces, and I got it in a microwave safe bowl. I'm using a salsa bowl. And I'm going to go back, and I'm just going to eyeball it again. I'm going to put about a teaspoon or so of garlic powder. A teaspoon of onion powder. A little bit of parsley, and this is optional. It doesn't add a lot of flavor, just a little bit, but it adds some color to your bread. That's what I like about it. And I'm going to take a big piece of this fresh garlic that we got that's been roasted. Again, I'm going to press it out of the casing like that. I'm going to dice it up really fine. Teeny little pieces. Oh, there's another piece of shell on that one. Get that off of there. About like so. We'll get that put in there. I'm going to take this to my microwave, and I'm going to put a cover over it because it's butter. It's going to start popping when it gets hot for about a minute, and I'll check it, and if it's not melted good, I'll do it for another 15 to 30 seconds, and it'll be ready to put on the bread. Okay, I got my garlic butter done now. You see it's all mixed together there. Now, these pieces of bread, being the carb smart, are a little small. Regular bread would be a little bit bigger, it'd be a little easier. How big is this heart, you think?
Probably about 4 inches.
About a 4-inch heart.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, all I'm going to do is it just fits these. I got it lined up to where the point is right in the middle where the top of the loaf's at, and it's around the corners. It's really simple. You just press it down and kind of wiggle it back and forth a little bit, like so. Keep even pressure on it. You can save those pieces and use them for stuffing or dressing, or
just put them in a Ziploc bag.
Filler if you're going to make meatballs and something that need breadcrumbs. But there you go. It's cut in the heart. I'm going to go ahead and, while it's still in the ring, I'm going to go ahead and put my garlic butter on there. Spread it around. Now, I have noticed using this Carb Smart bread, the low carb bread, it seems to take a little bit more butter than using a regular piece of bread. This is a 5 seed is what this one's called. It's really good bread. It tastes good.
And the seeds make it look more pretty also.
Yeah, that's what, like I said, that's one reason I add the parsley flakes. That way there's a little something on there. But this bread's already colored up, so you don't really need to put too many of them in there. And there you go. Heart-shaped garlic toast. I'm going to get the rest of these ready, and I'm going to get them in my air fryer, and we'll be right back. Okay, there you go. I got us 6 pieces of this heart-shaped garlic bread ready. I'm gonna do mine in the air fryer. I'm gonna put it on 350, and I'm gonna cook it for 2 to 3 minutes and flip it over and keep watching it because it browns. Different bread will brown at different rates. If you're doing it in the oven, you want to do the same thing. You want to put your oven on 350, put it on a spray sheet pan, and watch it and keep flipping it every few minutes. If you're frying it in a skillet, of course, you're right there. Do a piece at a time, flip it over. When it gets close to being done, I'm going to sprinkle on a little bit of this mozzarella cheese and let the cheese melt into the bread. If you're doing it in the oven, it would be the same as the air fryer. If you're doing it on top of the stove, of course, it'd be on your last flip. Put the cheese on, put a lid on it, and let it set for just a minute, and it'll melt down. When you get done with that, take that out and put it in a container where you can reheat it when you're ready to eat dinner slightly to have with your bruschetta. And I'll show you what a piece looks like when we come back. And there you go. There's my cheesy garlic bread like a crostini. And we're going to put some bruschetta on one, and we'll be right back.
Okay, and there's the final product. As you can see, the chef went ahead and put the bruschetta on one of the heart pieces of the garlic bread because we're not quite ready to eat yet, so we didn't want the rest to get soggy because you want to put that on right before you're ready to eat. But just wanted to give you guys a close-up. See how sweet that looks. And yes, if you're not videoing this, it doesn't take that long to make. But the chef wanted to make sure that he showed you guys step by step how to do this. So there you have it. We're getting ready to move on to the next recipe. And we'll be back with you guys.
And the bruschetta will stay good for days and days in your refrigerator, sealed up. So you can make it way ahead of time and save it.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're a little close to Valentine's Day now. But if you just wanted to make it for an anniversary or a special occasion, anything like that, because he put the lemon juice in the bruschetta mix, it will stay good in the refrigerator for a long time. Just put it in either a Ziploc bag or an airtight container. So just wanted to give you guys a close-up of that and show you what it looked like. We'll be back with another recipe. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.